Everyone is speaking out about the MVP race right now as the season comes to a wind. It's looking like it's between SGA, Nikola Jokic, and Luka Doncic, who's hanging out in the back right now. But due to his team's record, it might seem like he won't finish as the MVP since they are looking like a play-in team at the moment. Before we get into all this, don't forget to subscribe to Thunder Digest, and now we'll get into it. There are 8 games left of the season. After tonight, there will only be 7 for the Thunder, as SGA and Jalen Williams will be out tonight against the Philadelphia 76ers, as Joel Embiid makes his return. But that's not the big thing that we're going to talk about. We're not going to be talking about the game, as there is something else on the line now that we've clinched a playoff spot. It's about SGA winning the MVP award and his competition. And recently, there's been a lot of hype around SGA, and that's been surrounding him, coming from NBA veterans and also some pundits out there saying that SGA should be the MVP. Now, there are a few out there, as I mentioned before. Stephen A. Smith even said that his pick for MVP is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and rightfully so. He's been having a great year leading this Thunder team, currently as the 1 seed in the West and having one of the best records in the NBA, especially with how young this team is. Right now, you look at this core and everything, no one on the starting lineup is older than the age of 25. And that's impressive to be winning at this number with such a young team. But let's go ahead and look at some of the people that are talking about SGA right now. Here's one from the Gilbert Arenas show. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP. There is not a veteran on that team that has any experience of winning. Just like I said just now, they don't. This is him pushing his 22, 23, 24-year-old teammates. Gilbert Arenas making the case for SGA's MVP candidacy. I agree with Gilbert. I agree. I just mentioned that right before I went into that. There isn't a speck of anyone that has true playoff experience at that moment and everything. And there's not a true backup superstar on this team. You look at some of these other players. Nikola Jokic has Jamal Murray. All right. Jason Tatum has Jaylen Brown. Giannis has Damian Lillard. And Luka has Kyrie Irving. All these MVP candidates right there with them and everything have either an all-star on their team or someone that'll finish in the all-NBA polls. And so SGA doing this with Jalen Williams, J-Dub, who's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I love J-Dub. He's a top 50 player in the league. He's not on the same level as some of these other guys, though. He's not a Damian Lillard. He doesn't have SGA doesn't have an all-star he's competing with or anything. He doesn't have anyone on the all-NBA list in that starting lineup with him. And so, of course, he's going to have to handle it himself and everything. And then his assist numbers aren't going to be looking as high as Luka or Jokic, who can give it up to other options and they can rely on them all the time. The other scoring options are J-Dub and Chet. Dort isn't known to be this lights-out shooter and everything. He's had a few games, but he's not going to for sure get you 12 to 15 points a night. Same with Giddey until as of late and everything. It was always Jalen Williams handling it ISO and everything. SGA driving in fadeaway mid-range J or getting to the free throw line. And then the occasionally bump down low to Chet or when he's open on the three-point line. And so that's how SGA got his assist and everything. And he's not going to have rebounds. He's a smaller guard and everything. He's a point guard. He's not going to be going down there and being as physical as we saw Russell Westbrook when he had his triple-double season. And so, of course, when you look at this, it's SGA. He's one of the oldest guys on the team, and so he's pushing all his younger guys to be better, and he's making them better and making them seem like these top players in the league. Then you also have other people, such as Shaquille O'Neal, saying the MVP is SGA, period. He's the baddest player in the game, and he's also number 1 on NBAAwardTracker.com. So SGA, like I mentioned, he's pushing his players to be better. Right now, he's currently number 1 on NBA Award Tracker, which is huge. And in other polls and everything, he's finishing as second right behind Jokic, which leads into my next point here. We're going to compare what seems like his only competition now, as everyone says that the race is starting to look down, like it's going to come down between Jokic and SGA. There are a bunch of fans out there that are saying Luka Doncic should be the MVP if you look at his stats and everything. But I don't think you can be the MVP when you're on a play-in team and you might not even make the playoffs. That's where the Mavs are at right now. And that's why I think Jokic and SGA are now the 2 clear-cut favorites because they've clinched a playoff spot. The Mavericks haven't, and so that's why I don't have Luka Doncic as, someone that is a reliable, like a viable competition piece for SGA now. He isn't, and so that's why now it's between Jokic and SGA. As even in this article from a few weeks back on Bleacher Report shows Nikola Jokic is playing like someone intent on wrapping up his third MVP award with several weeks left in the season. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't going anywhere as his Oklahoma City Thunder try to hold off a horde of contenders vying for the West top seed. And now they currently sit at the number 1 seed, which is huge for the Thunder. 8 games left to go. Now, SGA and J-Dub, their 2 best players, are probably going to sit half these games we have left. That way they are healthy, because at this rate, we're going to finish as a top 3 seed, which let alone is huge. Gives us home court advantage, and also puts us against a team like the Sacramento Kings or maybe even the Los Angeles Lakers, and teams that I think we can beat in a 7-game series. And I think we can potentially even sweep them with the talent that we have, especially with a well-rested team that has had a week off. If you think about it, SGA and J-Dub, if you rest them for our last 2-3 games of the season when we've already kind of secured a top 3 spot and everything, imagine what they're like fully rested and everything and fully healthy. And so now, after I had that little tangent and everything, we're going to go in, we're going to look at the stats and everything. And so we'll look at his competitor, Nikola Jokic, Nugget center, who, once again, has already won 2 MVP awards before. Look at his stat. He's averaging 26 points right now. He's currently 10th in the league. 12.3 rebounds, 4th. That's expected from a big man. A center like that with his size, that's expected. The unexpected part is his assist. 9 assists a game. He's 3rd in the league and everything. But when you think about it, once again, looking at this team, he has options he can pass to and rely on them to catch and shoot and make it all the time. Josh Giddey, he doesn't have true, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he doesn't have true catch and shoot options and everything. His only one is Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins. Those are only guys that, constantly, that's their job. They're going to catch and shoot. And then Nikola Jokic is also 58%, shooter right now and everything, 13th in the league. Once again, expected from a big man who has close range shots and everything, who's not going to be taking those, high, like low percentage volume shots and everything, compared to a guard like SGA, who's going to be shooting 3-pointers when that's not really in his game, but he's expected to shoot them. And so, of course, Jokic's assist numbers are going to be high because he has an all-star and all-NBA player on his team, and he also has other options as well. And then the rebounds, of course, are going to be that high. And then 26 points per game is solid, don't get me wrong. But when you compare it to SGA, when we'll look at his stats now and everything, it's nothing compared to SGA, who's averaging 30 points per game right now. That's 3rd in the league. 5.5 rebounds, 64th. But that's solid numbers for a point guard. And then 6.3 assists, that's 17th in the league. Still, very good numbers. Don't get me wrong. Those are very good numbers. He's top 20 in the league with that and everything. But the reason he doesn't have assists is because the main person he passes to, Jalen Williams, he's not a catch and shoot type of guy. He's going to drive in and make a move or two to get it open, to get a shot and everything and make it, which takes away from SGA's assist numbers. So he's passing the ball around and everything. He's moving the ball well. And then he's shooting 53.9% from the field. That's 21st in the league. And so he's not very far behind Jokic in those standards and everything. It's just the key difference is that assist numbers is what's really making it stand out and everything. And the reason I think SGA has it on lock, though, when you look at it, he's not a liability on defense. He plays defense well and everything, and he takes it seriously. He reminds me of Michael Jordan and everything. Michael Jordan was the number 1 scoring option and everything. He didn't average a ton of assists because he didn't have like a true catch and shoot option and everything, and he also didn't average a bunch of rebounds because he wasn't, expected to. He was expected to be pushing the ball down the court and everything and get it passed to him once someone else rebounded. And then he was also an all-defensive type of player. That SGA is as well right now. He's playing well defensively. He's almost averaging 2 steals a game. And he also creates so much havoc on the defensive end, just being able to stay in front of everyone and play good, solid defense. And so I think that's why SGA should have this MVP award on lock now. It's his defensive capabilities that separates him from Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic, who are both defensive liabilities. They can't move. They can't guard on the perimeter as well. They get cooked when anyone's dribbling beyond the perimeter. And so with that reason, I think SGA is your MVP this year because he's not this liability on defense, and he's still getting buckets on the offensive side and having good, solid numbers in every other category, and he's one of the most efficient players in the league. But that's all I got. Once again, subscribe to Thunder Digest, and stay tuned for another video. We'll see you in the next one.